Hello and welcome to 2D Talk's Real Movie News. I'm Jayse and this is your weekly show from 2D Talk where we let you know what's happening in the entertainment world, what stars are making waves, what movies are in production and what movies are on the horizon. Also, I let you know what films are flying or faltering both financially and statistically in the box office dive. So we're going to kick off with that. Deadpool opened with a massive 125 million during its opening weekend. But even though this is a very large number, it's still not what it could or should have been. Let me explain. The movie came in below projections. It was estimated between 135 to 150 million. So it came in below the lower end of that. Also, the first movie took in 132.4 million on its opening weekend. There are multiple factors to go into these results for Deadpool 2. One is that Disney and its aggressive marketing push for Solo: A Star Wars Story, the movie had its premiere a full 10 days or so before the release and visual marketing hiked up dramatically. Now, we could all look at Disney as the bad guys here, or we could look at the fact that this was their plan for the film all along before Fox decided to move its date for Deadpool slap bang in the middle of Infinity War and Solo. Remember, the movie wasn't meant to be released until June. Another possible factor is that the first Deadpool was marketed so heavily that parents took their children to see it and theatres were much more lenient as to underage admissions. But this time around the theatres are cracking down and the numbers say that. The demographic skewed higher with 62% over the age of 25, over the original's 53%. And it was predominantly male with 61%. With all that said, it still made a successful amount and took the number 2 spot for the highest opening R-rated movie behind the first Deadpool. Globally, however, it opened at 301 million. That makes it the highest R-rated movie to open worldwide. It holds an A cinema score and has 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, the exact same score as the first. In second place, we have Infinity War, which took in 28.7 million in its fourth week. This pushes its domestic total to just over 595 million in just 24 days. Worldwide, the film is now in the number 4 spot for the highest grossing movie of all time at 1.8 billion. Now, it is just about 250 million off, taking the number 3 spot from The Force Awakens, who sits at 2+ billion. Paramount's The Book Club works solidly, bringing in 12.5 million and gaining an A- cinema score. And this movie seems to work as perfect counter-programming to Deadpool because 80% of the audience were female and 88% of them were over the age of 35. There were many movies that suffered heavy percentage drops this week. Among them is Melissa McCarthy's Life of the Party, which dropped 57% in its second weekend, taking in 7.7 million. The newly released trailer for The Happy Time Murders is her next chance to redeem her flagging box office. I did a reaction video and you can catch that video after this one. Another steep drop was Gabrielle Union's Breaking In. It fell 63%, bringing its domestic total to 28.75 million, meaning that it's not all doom and gloom, however, as it has made a profit from its $6 million budget. A Quiet Place continues to dominate in its respective field with yet again the lowest drop of 37% in its 7th week. It has now passed the massive hit of last year, Get Out, domestically and is now only 20 million shy of beating out the original Conjuring movie. But that weekend is nearly upon us. Solo: A Star Wars Story is set for release and the initial reviews are mixed at the moment. The movie is projected for a $150 million opening in over 4,500 screens across the US. Check back here next week to see whether The Last Jedi really did damage to the reputation of the Star Wars franchise. So, moving on to our 2 stories. And our 2 stories are all about Here Come the Girls. So, the first one is a new crossover event for the CW introduces Batwoman. So this will be the first time that I'm reporting news from the small screen and I'm very excited. Like I'm super excited. I'm a massive fan of the Arrowverse on the CW network. For those of you unfamiliar with the network and its interconnected shows, the Arrowverse consists of Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and Supergirl. This expansive TV world is produced by Greg Berlanti, the man behind the coming-of-age LGBT dramedy Love, Simon, released earlier this year. I have a review for that movie if you want to check it out. I'm going to leave you a little link just up there. Anyway, back to the story. Every year for the last 4, they've done a crossover event. As the roster of shows gets bigger, so do the events. Case in point, the most recent, Crisis on Earth X, which funnily enough was released around the same time as the DCEU's Justice League movie. And in many fans' opinions, mine included, the 4-day crossover television event was far better than the movie that was in theaters. But my excitement is making me digress, so let's focus on this. So this year's event will feature a very cool and special superhero, and that is Batwoman. It was announced by Stephen Amell, who plays the Green Arrow. He said, "We are incredibly excited to announce that we are doing another crossover event this fall, and we'll be introducing a new character. For the very first time, we'll be fighting alongside Batwoman, which is terrific. The crossover is going to be airing in December," he said, and he then went on to say, "I need to leave right now to start filming." Batwoman, otherwise known as Kate Kane, is one of several vigilantes who protect Gotham City. The character, first introduced as Kathy Kane in Detective Comics back in 1956, and in the New 52 reimagining of the comic book line, she is one of the few superheroes to be proudly established in the comics as a lesbian. She is in fact related to Bruce Wayne, being his cousin through his mother's side, and she is military trained and at times far more brooding than the Cape Crusader himself, if you can believe it. This character is not to be confused with Batgirl. Batgirl is Barbara Gordon, daughter of Commissioner Jim Gordon, and far younger than Batwoman herself. CW boss Mark Pedowitz added, "We are adding the city of Gotham into the Arrowverse. This will be another full throttle action-packed event." Wow, I'm very excited. I'm so excited about this. There have been a couple of times when Gotham and its citizens have been name dropped throughout the Arrowverse. Does this have you excited? Because I'm over the moon about this. Batwoman's like one of my favorite characters along with Batman, obviously. I'm so excited about it. I absolutely adore the Arrowverse and the CW in general. So you guys let me know in the comments below what you think about this new superhero and the crossover event that the CW do every year. The story 2 is Muslim Ms. Marvel to join the MCU. Yeah. Plenty of hints have been thrown out as to where the future of the MCU is heading, but Feige has remained tight-lipped as to the future of many of our existing characters. However, it seems when it comes to newer characters, he's willing to talk, and talk he did about Kamala Khan. Who, you ask? Well, she is otherwise known as Ms. Marvel, with Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige revealing to BBC that her addition to the cinematic universe is definitely sort of in the works. He said, "Captain Marvel is shooting right now with Brie Larson. Ms. Marvel, which is another character in the comics, the Muslim superhero who is inspired by Captain Marvel, is definitely sort of in the works. We have plans for that once we've introduced Captain Marvel to the world." The moniker of Miss Marvel has been used for multiple heroes, including the current Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, the character Brie Larson will be playing in the 2019 movie. However, Ms. Marvel in the comics is currently the guise of Kamala Khan, a teenage Pakistani American from New Jersey with shape-shifting abilities. She's actually inhuman in the comics, but I think they would just make her enhanced like they did with the Maximoff twins. She also happens to idolize Carol Danvers, who passes the mantle of Ms. Marvel to Khan after she becomes Captain Marvel. Created by Sana Amnat, Stephen Wacker, G. Willow Wilson, and Adrian Alfona, Khan became Marvel's first Muslim superhero to headline her own comic book, with the first issue winning the Hugo Award for Best Graphic Story in 2015. Comic book lovers have been excited about the character to get her own starring role in the MCU for a long time now, and it looks like that may, possibly, definitely happen. Captain Marvel will hit UK cinemas on the 8th of March 2019. So that's it from 2D Talk and this week's Real Movie News. Let us know your thoughts about all the topics that I've mentioned here today, the box office as well. Please like, share, and as always, show us the love and subscribe. Don't forget to find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. That's it, guys. You take care of yourself. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.